Hello and welcome back to Game of Trades, your #1 channel for videos on the stock market and cryptocurrencies. This video is going to be focused on Bitcoin that's been in recovery mode over the past couple of weeks. This is just a pure product of beautiful technical analysis. Look at these levels. We haven't changed these levels over the past 4 or 5 videos that we made on Bitcoin. We kept the same channel, the same triangle consolidation pattern, the same downtrend line neckline and resistance level right here. We saw a rejection, false breakdown, breakout here, and that's when the rally really began on Bitcoin to tag this area of resistance that we were looking for in the last video at 40K. Now the big hot topic on Bitcoin is the incoming death cross here, where you've got the 50-day moving average crossing down below the 200-day moving average right here. Now that is a typical bearish signal, right? If you see that on the stock market, you tend to have large drawdowns after a death cross, and the same applies to most assets. It's typically not a good news seeing a death cross. So we're going to discuss that in this video. We're also going to talk about the number of Bitcoin shorts that's absolutely exploding over the past few days. The number of people shorting Bitcoin right now is reaching the same levels that we saw throughout the 2018 bear market. So that's also something we're going to talk about. And there's a few other charts that I want to show you guys that I think you'll find very interesting. So if you are new here, make sure to smash that subscribe button, because we make these videos multiple times a week on both the stock market and cryptocurrencies. And we teach you how to navigate through these crazy markets. Now, without further ado, let's get right into it. So I want to first make a quick recap of the recent price action on Bitcoin. I believe we made the last video as Bitcoin was breaking down below this triangle consolidation pattern, and we were actually on Twitter as that was happening, and people were talking about this triangle consolidation pattern and a potential $23,000 target for Bitcoin, because that's the measured target from this pattern. Now, our view was that Bitcoin was going to make a false breakdown and reverse at around the $27,000 level and then break out and have a powerful rally. Now, obviously, it's extremely difficult, if not impossible, to predict price movements perfectly, but we did get that general template correct. We had a false breakdown of the triangle consolidation pattern, but we didn't get an undercut of this low. Bitcoin held that support level and went straight ahead to break out above this resistance level to then go on and make that powerful rally we talked about, which was a 32% rise in the price of Bitcoin. That is what you call a nice rally. Now, if you want regular updates on Bitcoin and the rest of the cryptocurrency market, you can go and check out our website at gameoftrades.net. Right here, right after that breakout, we made a quick follow-up on Bitcoin's breakout, talking about the next big development, which would be a test of the neckline right here. And that's exactly what we're seeing right now. We saw a nice rally to hit that 40K resistance. And we're going to continue making these updates along the way to try and benefit from Bitcoin's price action, identify the best potential buying opportunities, and give a clear view of where we think Bitcoin is going in the short, intermediate, and long term. So now Bitcoin has reached that line of resistance where the panic move on Bitcoin really started to intensify right here as it broke that neckline support. That's when you had that capitulation move on Bitcoin. So we're going to talk about that in just a second, but first let's discuss that death cross that we talked about in the beginning of the video, where we're seeing the 50-day moving average cross down below the 200-day moving average. It hasn't happened yet, but it seems increasingly likely that it's going to be the case. Now, all this means is that the short-term momentum is turning down relative to the long-term momentum. And the reason these work is because a lot of investors follow these moving averages and consider the death cross to be a sell signal. So it's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy where a death cross triggers a sell signal, causing many investors to sell, which causes downside in that asset because of the death cross. But what you have to do with indicators like this is not just speculate what's going to happen, but evaluate the probabilities based on the price history. That is what technical analysis is all about. I don't think many people understand that. Technical analysis is not magical. It's not about having a crystal ball and making predictions. It's about comparing the current price action to other periods in history and evaluate potential reward versus the potential risk and adjust your position according to that risk to reward ratio. So we need to look at whether this is a good indicator on Bitcoin. Do death crosses actually work? So I'm going to do a very simple exercise with you guys. I'm going to put a vertical line every time we have a death cross on Bitcoin. If we go back to the previous bull market, we have all the death crosses on Bitcoin. And now I'm going to put horizontal lines to identify the price at which you would have sold your Bitcoin. So in March, you would have sold it at around 6,500. In 2019 at 8,000. In 2018, you would have sold at 7,000. In 2015, right here, you would have sold at $240. Then on these three occasions, you would have sold at $490 and $450. So what do you think of these results? Make sure to comment down below what you think of these results. How good do you think the death cross is as an exit signal on Bitcoin? And I'm going to give you my opinion. It's a very, very poor exit signal. It tends to make you sell your Bitcoin once the move down has already occurred, not before it occurs, which is when you should be booking your profits. All of these signals right here would have made you exit your Bitcoin in the bottom half of the bear market in 2014 and 2015. And fast forward to recent price history, exactly the same thing. Death crosses make you exit your Bitcoin after the move down has already occurred. Now, could Bitcoin make another panic move down? Anything is possible. The last few weeks of trading have taught us that. But would I be betting my money on this indicator? Would I be betting on a death cross? No, because it has absolutely no statistical significance on Bitcoin whatsoever. Now, before I get into my favorite part of this video, I want to quickly talk about the Bitcoin shorts that are rising dramatically and getting to similar levels that we saw during the bear market. It's very surprising to see a lot of people shorting Bitcoin considering its price history. I mean, this is an asset that tends to go up a lot more than it goes down. So the risk reward ratio to shorting Bitcoin is just so unattractive. And yet we're seeing this dramatic rise in Bitcoin shorts, at least on the Bitfinex exchange. Now, this doesn't mean much, but as contrarian investors, we do love to take into account market sentiment. And this move right here is suggesting a lot of fear is present in the Bitcoin market. And that's a big shift in the environment compared to what we had throughout this period with very few market participants looking to short Bitcoin. That's a complacent market. If you want to be the smart money on Bitcoin, this is typically the environment where you want to be entering. So although this probably doesn't mean much in the short term for Bitcoin, I do think this is a positive sign for the intermediate to longer term. Now, if you haven't already, make sure to smash the like button as hard as you can. We try to bring the highest quality research and information in these videos for you guys. So if you want to help out the channel, take a couple of seconds to click on the like button. Now, the last thing that I wanted to talk about in this video is the Bitcoin dominance that has been rising. We've really seen a significant change in character compared to the last few months of trading on Bitcoin, and we believe that's a big development for Bitcoin. For those of you new here, the Bitcoin dominance represents the market share of Bitcoin among all cryptocurrencies. So its portion of the total crypto market cap. And so what you tend to see is that the Bitcoin dominance rises at the beginning of a bull market in cryptocurrencies because you tend to see money flow from outside the crypto market into Bitcoin, right? And then once Bitcoin reaches pretty high valuations, which was the case back in January, we had Bitcoin trading at all-time highs at around $40,000. That's when you see investors begin to book profits from their Bitcoin into altcoins. So like Ethereum, Polkadot, Cardano, and you see the Bitcoin dominance drop as these altcoins outperform Bitcoin. But now Bitcoin is no longer at its all-time high. It's very far from being at its all-time high. And for the first time since around September, we're seeing Bitcoin beginning to rise. Right over the past few weeks, it's been rising with the Bitcoin dominance. And that's a big change in character. And we believe that's a very positive development for Bitcoin because it means that money is again flowing from outside the market into Bitcoin. And we're not seeing money from Bitcoin into altcoins. Everything's staying into Bitcoin. This is what we were talking about throughout this entire move down when we talked about the alt season that was about to peak, and we tried to prepare our members on gameoftrades.net for a capital rotation from altcoins into Bitcoin. And we expect Bitcoin to continue showing strength over the next few weeks, few months, even as it eventually rallies to its all-time high. We still have a while to go before we get back into the altcoin market. So from a fundamental standpoint, we remain extremely bullish on Bitcoin. We continue to expect much higher highs over the next year, but near term, that's more debatable. We're at resistance here, and it seems increasingly likely that Bitcoin is going to be making a period of sideways consolidation over the next few weeks, making a basing pattern before eventually breaking out to all-time highs. That's our preferred scenario right now, to see Bitcoin trading between 30K and 40K for another few weeks. But we remain open-minded, and we are properly positioned to take advantage of the rest of the Bitcoin bull market. If we see a breakout here on Bitcoin above this neckline right here, that would just be incredibly bullish. It would significantly improve the technical picture, and we'd be expecting higher highs very soon. Now, that's about all I wanted to cover in this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. In the meantime, good luck on your trading, and see you next time.